Okay, so could you say your name
Hi, I'm Matthew Beech.
and what do you do?
So I work currently. I'm an electrical engineer. My background is in primarily integrated circuits. Currently, I'm working at a company called Foundation Devices. We do kind of open source cryptocurrency hardware. Security focus right now. We're creating like a Bitcoin hardware wallet but mainly it's kind of just trying to create open source hardware platforms for the industry, not just limited to wallets, but in the future, hopefully try to expand into other things.
Cool.
Um,
How did you hear about the course?
so the course, one of my coworkers actually, I think he had like a newsletter specifically about the tickets opening. We had some interest we had heard before hearing about the course about Open Lane, about eFabless, and uh, when it was really, really early. Um, and I remember poking my head around and looking at the tools and kind of being a bit overwhelmed with like, how does any of this install? There's like not great documentation. Like it's everything's changing every day. So it's kind of like kind of poke my head down. I was like, oh my god, it's an ocean, and then kind of pop back up. And then a couple months later, Zach forwarded me this email about the Zero to ASIC course. Seemed like a very neat way to learn about all that stuff.
So for
So
you, was
that's
it
kind of how I learned about it.
what was like if you had to sum it up in one sentence, why would you say you wanted to do the course?
Um, Basically, it was. I think for me, like the hardest part about getting into new things is just the getting started part. Like once you can run an example or in a hello world, like it's at least for me, it's a lot easier for me to like kind of go on my own. But like getting tools installed, doing the very first thing, what is the scope of what I need to know, and I didn't even know like how I guess to like what extent like what's involved to do a completion of a project. I knew enough that there's things I had never heard about, I didn't know, and if like without kind of a little bit of a guide, like you could spend days or months trying to find this one little thing that you're missing. Um, and for me, it was kind of like um, it was a good way for just to show like what it would take to bring a project through. And once you have that starting point, you can kind of be on your own and kind of expand upon that. It's kind of that little crystal start, I guess,
Okay.
um, for
What
me.
was your favorite part of the course?
The favorite part was place and route, I guess, actually making the actual files. A quick aside, I guess, I can kind of show like my background's mainly in analog ASICs. Worked at Intel for some higher speed RLNOs, and this was kind of a way to kind of get back into ASICs after starting my own thing. Obviously, as you know, like tools can be prohibitively expensive. Um, but a lot of my work was done in like just hand layout and um, always kind of like liked working in doing layout of integrated circuits. Another thing I do is lots of layout PCBs. So kind of my whole thing is layout is kind of what I enjoy about the whole space. And so from the course, going through and actually like getting to open up a GDS file for the first time in like a couple of years and actually like looking at like layouts, and it kind of really felt real again about like, oh, like this is real ASIC stuff. So that was kind of my favorite part, was seeing a GDS file of something you had made, and like all seeing all the wires go around, and that was kind of neat. That was my favorite part.
What would you say that the most valuable part of the course was for you?
um, Learning the tools flows. Basically, what it like, how to run simulations, how to do like the open lane make, like what that all takes. That was for me was the missing piece. My again, I think my background's a lot more analog. I'm much more used to like schematics and whatnot than actual Verilog code. Um, I hadn't done digital design since grad school, so it was very much like a very big mystery to me, like exactly like what it takes to like what are the flows even like how what is the digital stuff even doing. Those kind of very my first like kind of real path through that, and it was less really about the examples. It wasn't for me like the exact project wasn't very special in the regard. It's more like just getting something, even if a bit meaningful, just through the process, and learn like and what does it take to do a digital design.
Would you recommend the course to somebody else?
Oh, 100%. I think I think honestly, especially for um, more so for like beginners, like it's very much it was like very accessible. Like I was able to go through all the projects start to finish with very minimal issues. Made some environment variable stuff that happens to all projects. But other than like it was very kind of a comprehensive way of, at least for me, it, getting through. It was a perfect size, I would say, where you can take any big ideas you want and kind of scale it to whatever you need, but it has everything um, to bring someone with just rudimentary knowledge of Verilog, or not an L, to get something out. And it was very hit all the pieces, I would say. Um, so yeah, I'd say. Hold on a second. Yeah, I would. I was actually, yeah, I recommend it more so for first timers more than anything. Like, it was a great fun way to, I think, introduce people to like Verilog and ASIC digital design in general. Like if you'd never done digital design, I'd say it's even, you don't have to have like done tons of FPGA stuff or be an expert at Verilog at all. If you're really anyone who's just interested in just hardware in general, I'd say it's accessible um, for that regard, and I could see it sparking a lot of interest in the field as a whole. Like, um, so at least for
Join the
me, it
revolution.
was able to get me back into digital design. So I'll say as much.
Yeah.
I'm as much of a newbie to digital design as most. So
Cool. So maybe you could tell us a bit about, how excited are you for MPW2?
very, I'm actually really happy I was able to hopefully get something in that's can make it for the shuttle.
Yeah.
And
Maybe you can tell us
regardless
a
of it,
bit about your
oh, my
project,
project, yeah.
and I'll put a picture
So
of your GDS.
sounds good. So yeah, so I'm working on so a little bit of background. There's a new wallet project that we want to develop in the future, and there's a particular type of LCD screen we like to use. We actually took a lot of inspiration from Bunny's Be Trusted project for this LCD screen. It's a memory LCD where all of the circuitry and the SRAM bits for each pixel are embedded in the pixels themselves. So there's no actual like silicon driver for the screen on the flex cable. It's all directly from a SPI bus, and it's very hard to like
So
fake
that
what
makes it
images on the screen.
inspectable, basically.
Inspectable, exactly. Um, and so there's a new screen the company who made this came out with, like went from monochrome, which is you can't really make a good viewfinder with a monochrome screen. We've tried our best, but it's passable, but they've come up with like a 64 color version. Same concept, all the inspectable circuitry in the screen, except now the controller interface is not simple SPI. It's this very custom interface, and current solution is using FPGA to kind of offload that signaling work from the microcontroller, and we basically want to hopefully replace an FPGA part with an ASIC that can just handle all this custom signaling, and the MCU can do more important things than toggling GPIOs.
Super cool. Okay, I think that's it. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
Amazing course. Lots of awesome help on the Discord. I feel like there's a little growing community kind of surrounding the course, which will help make everything more accessible. So don't be afraid to dive in. There's lots of other people who have gone through the course that are hanging around, willing to help, and it's kind of nice to see that kind of grow. So yeah,
Great.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, very nice talking to you, Matthew. Thanks for your feedback.
Pleasure.